Welcome back, students. In our today's class, I am going to discuss Internet, that is chapter 6 for our unit 2. So, how the Internet originated. The Internet was born from the communication benefits of linking two single computers together via a cable to share each other's data. So, the Internet was born with a benefit of sharing data from each other from one computer to another computer via a cable. This powerful communication model quickly grew to multiple computers being linked together by cables. So, initially it got popularized and quickly grew to multiple computers that can be linked together via cables. The data between them being controlled and regulated by a device known as a router. So, the device that used to control their data and regulate the data used to be known as router. This device sole function is literally controlling the routing of the data between computers. Multiple linked computers in a network are sometimes referred as LAN, or that is also known as local area network. So, a multiple computer that can be linked in a network area sometimes are also known as LAN. The power of data being exchanged in such an expedient, efficient manner quickly gave rise to standardization of hardware devices and software commands and packages that enabled both expanded network connection, categories of confidential and other classes of data to be sent, and the creation of universal computer networking protocols. So, the things got popularized very fast, and it demands then a standardization of the hardware devices and the software commands, software codings and various kind of packages that expanded the network connection. The architecture of this network soon adapted to the use of already existing communication cables. So, initially they used the already existing communication cables. Telephone entities engaged relationship, allowing the use of their telephone lines for computer network transmission. Now, this later spread to cable television entities engaging relationship for their lines, and soon the invention and use of highly efficient cables specifically for network data carriage. So initially, first the telephone cables were used for as communication cables for internet. Then the cable companies were allowed to use their cables. Later on, only high capacity cables or specifically for network data carriage were used. Business and governments quickly became financing and user participants, eagerly receiving the new data connectivity benefits, soon providing them communication speeds for even heavy bandwidth data of pictures, music, video, and confidentially never before available. Now, let us talk about Internet's fundamental rings. There are three basic Internet architecture communication rings. How many? Three. The first, or the sending layer, addresses and sends data to the third and receiving layer. The data passes through the second or middle layer, often referred as the cloud. So, how many architecture communication rings are there? Three. The first layer sends the data. Okay, the first layer sends the data, and the third layer receives the data, that is the receiving layer, and the in between, the medium via which the data passes is known as the middle layer, the second layer, or the cloud. Nowadays we are quite acquainted with the word cloud. Cloud refers to a kind of, just a minute. Nowadays we are all of us acquainted with cloud. Cloud acts as a invisible hardware that stores our data, and that can be accessed from any device with the use of a username and a password. The sending and receiving layer may be inhabited by massive commercial or government computing systems, or simply individual users with computer or the internet connected devices such as game consoles, sufficient smartphones. Now, the cloud is participated in by literally every telephone, telco and communication entity. This include Vodafone, Bharti Airtel and all of these companies. Each network infrastructure is patched together, allowing all transmission signals to pass through the entire internet. The cloud is ever expanding in processing of muscles and speed. So, the cloud is a ever expanding project. Powerful new transmission cabling made of glass, often referred as fiber, allow heavier of data to travel at a much higher rates of speed. All of you now acquainted with the word fiber, geo, giga fiber and all of this. And fiber is a kind of cable that is made out of glass and that allow the transfer of data at a much higher speed. Fiber is now laid on much of the planet. Strong cables crisscrossing every ocean and more seas. The data moves through the internet through the use of more sophisticated routes than the land networks. So, through fiber, data moves from one place to another in a more sophisticated way. Now, data transmission process. Through data, though data may appear as one of the queue, for instance, an email message, it is actually sent in a series of data packets, each packet of data having individual identification level. This is the important part of Internet protocol. IP, the full form of IP is Internet Protocol structure, allowing each Internet transmission to be identified with unique packet ID. So, with the help of Internet Protocol, the data is sent from one place to another, and we can track the exactly from where the data is being sent and who is receiving the data. As routers are used to regulate the flow of data through the internet, so are switches used to verify each transmission packet and assure all packets that were sent are received to a point of each participating switch. Now, the IP allows packet being received to be controlled into a buffer before it is revealed to a user. We may see this in a music or a video transmission we are receiving. A line may appear to fill up before the video image begins or we hear the music. So, the IP allows packet being received or collected with into a buffer. Buffer means into a kind of packet where it is stored before showing us. Now, the receiver ring of the internet is sometimes referred as the edge or the last mile. The edge is often underdeveloped for consumers. Heavy bandwidth data such as pictures, music, videos are often said to create congestion at the edge because there is greater user demand than the edge infrastructure can accommodate. The sender and cloud are typically not congested, only the edge. So edge become congested and the data may get relayed. Powerful edge infrastructure is enabled for multinational corporations, schools, hospitals and communication companies and others who must have constant uninterrupted transmission. Now, let us move to internet culture. Okay. What is internet culture? In addition to open source culture, let us briefly discuss open source. Seeing the only thing holding the internet back from even greater innovations, software engineers have surfaced project sites on the internet, many of which are purely voluntary. Other software engineers join in, literally contributing their help in the creation of powerful new software. This is done because the engineers want to further the progress of internet for the benefit of all users. There is typically no user cost for this software. Such projects are enabled by the internet and all users of the internet are powerfully benefited. This volunteer group initiated are often this volunteer group initiatives are often referred as open source because the source code of the software is open for qualified engineers to see and improve and everyone to use. Now, open source has become a cultural term generally referring to initiatives taken up by volunteers for the public good. This attitude reflects an important culture with far-reaching potential effects that was born on the internet but is being generally applied as a life and business practice. Now let us move to internet culture. In addition to open source culture is simply the internet culture. For the first time in history, the internet enables brands to directly interact with their target. Newspaper, radio, television gave brands power to advertise their customers, but only with major customer delayed reaction from hopefully increased sale. The internet provides instant customer reaction from the negative to endearment or interest, to requesting information, downloading a coupon, setting a test drive appointment, and all of this. People have free access to news and magazine using this open source and this internet culture. People now have free access to all the magazines, newspaper, giving consumers instant access and saving them the cover price and giving publishers printing cost, providing them instant advertising revenue. Music and movie lovers both listen and watch or download music or movie from instant access, low cost with the seller experiences no duplication costs and receiving instant income. Now let us move to multicast and unicast. Radio, television and satellite transmission is referred as multicast. So the radio, television, satellite transmission is referred as multicast, referring to one-way communication from a single sending source to an unlimited number of receivers. The transmitter sends the signal, but it is up the receiver to assure get it. Multicast has no natural capability for the sender to ascertain if the transmission is received or to determine the quality and integrity of its signal. Now, the internet's primary transmission method, unicast, referring to being interactive and a two-way communication. So, when the multicast is one-way communication, I am just sending the data and there is no guarantee that I will receive the data in exchange. But unicast refers to a interactive and two-way communication. It is a two-way communication as well as it being from the one sender to just one receiver. Unicast IP includes the sender's assurance that transmission is received and quality is complete. If the message transmission is problematic, it is either resent or a message is given to the sender reporting the problem. As edge congestion is overcome, this will enable the emergence of the first internet television system, that is ITS. This will enable traditional consumer television to be interactive. Each consumer's preference profile will instruct their channel lineup and individual program preferences, commercials and programming cost and all of this. Now, what is internet's future? The internet is today and tomorrow's new frontier. So as of now, all of we know that internet is everything. We can't think our daily life without internet. Internet is one of the most necessary thing in today's life when we are doing so many things. We are working from home or we are doing classes from our home. We need to send so many data from one place to another. Internet is today and tomorrow's new frontier. Most futurists agree the internet has barely taken its first step relative to its maturity. Communication, family relationship, education, health, entertainment, media and business all will continue to significantly change in its use. Its new transformation will largely be imagined and implemented by the internet literate generation you. So you are the internet literate generation, and it will internet according to some of the argumentative critics, internet just have taken its first step, and it is far away from its maturity. When the internet will mature and implemented in, will all of us will be a internet literate generation. That is you, me and every one of us, those are living in this internet era. So that's all for today. Please follow the Indian perspective that I have shared with you in your study notes. Okay students, that's all for today. Bye, have a nice day.